Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone's time again. I just started the recording for us as well. This is our annual members meeting. I first of all want to apologize for the change in date. I had another engagement come up that I needed to be at from a work commitment, and so I appreciate the flexibility for people to be able to come tonight instead. If you have questions at any point, please feel welcome to ask them at any point during the presentation. We are going to have some of our committee chairs join us during their time and talk a little bit about their committees as well. So if you have questions, I would appreciate the opportunity for you to ask those. Okay, so we have a schedule here. We're going to go ahead and call this to order, and we're going to check to see. I believe we have a quorum already, but I think we're missing a few people. So I saw Tim, I saw Sinead, Colin, Steve. Is Sue on with us right now? Okay. Sue, you're here?
Yep, I was in the other channel.
Got it. Thank you.
And I think Dr. Hiros is here with me.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And has Matt joined us? I don't think Matt's joined us yet. Tamisha, can you do the voting for the NETA?
Yes, but I think President Duffy is on here, so I will. If he's not, I'm gonna reach out to him. But if no one else, if I'm the only one, then I can.
Sure, that'd be great. Just when we have that recorded. And Rick is here, and Jay, and Hengju. Have you made it yet?
Yeah, I'm here. Jay's here.
Thank you, Jay. All right. Well, again, thank you everyone for joining us. Just so you know, from a voting standpoint, we will have some things that are coming up that we'll need to vote on from the meeting standpoint. Only our board of directors are allowed to vote for that. So those of you that are here as academic institution members, other organizations, friends of the organization, you don't have to worry about any of those polls at that point. So thank you for your participation. Okay, agenda. We have an agenda in front of us. This is our tentative agenda. Is there anything else that we need to add or change to the agenda? Not hearing anything, I'm going to go ahead and ask for us to vote. Actually, do we have someone to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Rick.
I second.
Is that Tim?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And you should have a poll in front of you to approve the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda. Okay, thank you, everyone. That was approved. Next item of business is our minutes from last time. So all the directors did receive the minutes. This is just a snip from the opening page. From here, I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, which was September 14th, 2023. We have a motion to approve?
Yep, I can do it.
Okay. Thank you. Who was that? Actually, was that Sue?
Oh, I second.
And Sinead.
And Sinead, got it. Thank you. I guess I forgot to stop sharing. Back. There we go. And then here is our poll, please, for approval of the minutes. And there we go. Thank you. It is approved unanimously. First of all, we'll go ahead and welcome all of our directors and our executive committee. So these are the individuals that have been serving as directors for our WFATT board of directors. So each one of our voting organizations has a director. And half of these directors, they're basically elected on a 2-year term. They're recommended from their organization and officially elected during this meeting. You will note that we have 5 members that will be re-elected during this meeting later on in the agenda. But I want to thank every one of you for being part of our organization and everything that you do for us on a yearly and certainly daily basis. So our executive committee from this last year, I've been serving as your president. This is my third year, or completing my third year as president for the World Federation. Glenn Bergeron is our past president. Sinead O'Keefe is one of our vice presidents serving from ARDI. Colin King, vice president from the CATA. Sue Nakanina from JADO. And then Matt Coots from NATA. I certainly do want to thank each one of these individuals. They give their time and effort, not only during our meetings every month, but also during the off time when we're trying to work through some needs for the organization and to always be available for me, which is incredibly helpful. So certainly appreciate everything that you do for us. And I want to pass that on, certainly from myself. So thank you for them. A couple updates here. So first of all, here's our membership report. We currently have 10 voting members. We have 5 associate members. We've had a slight increase in our academic institution members, up to 38, and we do have 1 allied health member as well. We are seeing some increase in some of the membership and people wanting to get involved, so I certainly thank everyone for that. That is huge when we get more and more of our members that are not only wanting to be part of the organization, but that are willing to step up and volunteer. That's massive. And we all know this. You know, we're a part of a profession that volunteers for things. We're part of organizations that have volunteer leadership. And so having that ability for you to serve and help us is incredibly helpful. So thank you for that. All right. Is Stavros on the call with us? And if not yet, I'm going to go ahead and give his report. So I want to first of all talk about our Education and Research Committee. So currently we have 4 committee members and we are looking for some increased membership in this committee. So later on, you're going to see a call for volunteers. If you have interest in serving on a committee, and maybe our Education and Research Committee might be one of those, I'll have my email at the end of this presentation, end of our members meeting, and you can certainly send me that information along with your CV, and I can pass that along to the chair of our committee. So a couple things. Number one, the activities that they've been able to do for this past year, they've been working on the World Congress 13. So they've developed, with assistance with our World Congress Committee, the abstract submission guidelines. We have a kind of a new format in the way of a handbook. They've issued a call for the research proposals and then amended the abstract review rubric. They've also been working on an educational summit, or kind of some ideas around an educational summit. So they want to talk about ways in which they can actually engage our education members within our group, along with our academic institutions committee, and develop a way to actually get some form of program that's involved. Now that could be potentially with our World Congress, but that also could be something is extra. Some priorities that they have for 24-25. Like I mentioned, they are looking to recruit another member or 2 to this committee. We are relaunching our webinars. If you remember about 2 years ago, we were doing webinars, I think basically every quarter at least. Over the last year, we've kind of stopped, not necessarily stopped because we wanted to, but we just slowed down in that aspect. And this is one of the initiatives that I've asked this committee to restart. And you're going to see an announcement for one of our webinars that has been on social media coming up here in a little bit. Actually, it's confirmed. It's in the second bullet point here, behind the scenes, athletic trainers and therapists at the Olympics. And that's scheduled for next Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then they are involved with reviewing abstracts. So abstracts are going to close. Pete, you want to remind me, when do abstracts close for the World Congress?
December 15th.
December 15th, and then we'll be reviewing those and getting that set up. So thank you to our Education and Research Committee for the work that they're doing. Next is Marketing and Communication. And Sam, I believe you're on here. You want to give your report for Marketing and Communications?
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam Walton. I'm an assistant professor at Virginia Commonwealth University in the United States. And I've been acting as the chair or co-chair of this committee since 2016. So I guess the first thing to report is this is actually my last year as the chair. And I think in the same way that it's important to prune trees so that they can grow and flourish, here we are with some turnover and leadership in our committee, and I think we're really moving in a positive direction, as you'll see from all the things that we're up to in the areas that we have of growth here over the next year or so. So Alex Lemke, who is another colleague here from the US and actually my same institution. She'll be taking over as the chair of this committee from here on out. I will remain on the committee, and like Brian mentioned previously, we are recruiting. We have one more slot open. So if marketing promotions is your thing, or you know somebody who would like to be involved with that, please do let us know. But before we skip to the next slide, I want to say that we've had some growth over this last year. 2 new members in Kiara and Kumiko. And again, looking for another person to join us sometime in the near future. And one of our points of pride, I think, is the fact that we have 5 different countries represented right now in our committee, and are hoping that we can continue to expand that. And next slide, please. So of the things we've been up to in this last year, you've probably seen us on social media. If you haven't, please follow us. If you don't have those social media accounts, I get it, but we're on multiple platforms to try to reach as many people as possible. And that includes our website. So I want to say first and foremost, thanks to Pete and Andrea, who do a phenomenal job with our website, not just keeping it up to date, but also thinking about new ways to present information and ways for us to potentially take on future things like having a store where people can buy swag with our emblem on it, or having areas that we can put spotlights for our members. So thank you, Pete. Thank you, Andrea, for all the hard work you're doing there. And as far as social media presence and growth, we've seen a lot of growth continuing over the last year. Really over the last few years, we've grown a lot across all platforms. But typically that happens around specific events. So things like the World Congress, we've seen a lot of bumps around there. Things like the International Athletic Training and Therapy Day, which we'll talk about in a moment. That's typically where we see our biggest growth. And a lot of that has to do with just the fact that people have provided content, and we get to engage with a lot of other people, as well as just generating our own advertisements. So you'll see over the course of the next year or so, it's another high priority for us is to improve our reach, be it around those particular events or just in general. One of the events that we just had pass was the International Athletic Training and Therapy Day. I'll have a list later with all of the names of people who significantly contributed to that. It's very much a team effort, and I want to thank everyone who took the time to be engaged on social media, at their own institutions, interpersonally, whatever it was. This was our 3rd year, and I think our biggest sort of setup and follow through from our standpoint. So we have numbers that are still to be updated in terms of our total reach for that event, but I would consider it still a growing success and something that we hope to continue capitalizing on and improving for years to come. And then we also have an ongoing podcast with James Gardner. So we entered an agreement with him over this last year to participate in 4 separate podcasts where he can work with our members, and we've had a focus more recently on trying to engage students and their experiences, and are hoping to continue building that out with James moving forward, as well as have him continue to be present at our World Congress events and show off all the great things that are happening at those events. Perfect. So priorities moving forward. We certainly want to be doing everything that we're doing well and continue to improve on those things that we're doing. At the same time, we're trying to develop ways that we can better reach our own members, people who've engaged with our webinars in the past, individuals who have shown active interest in being involved and wanting news updates. So we're developing a Google Workspace, and we'll have, along with the newsletter, potentially some listserv type of activities where we can really target where social media is largely oriented toward a broad range of people who may or may not even be familiar with WFATT. This will allow us to have some communications where we can better target our membership and people who are engaged and grow in those areas as well, promoting events that are led by the other committees, like the Education Committee, like the Academic Institutions Committees. We really want to highlight and spotlight those efforts as well. So considering internal marketing as well as external marketing. And we want to keep going with member spotlights. So if you haven't seen it already up on our website, we have a spotlight on the University of Winnipeg. Thanks to Glenn and his colleagues for all the work putting that together. Up next, we're going to be shining a spotlight on TUS. And so Lynn, I'll follow up with you soon to see if we have any updates there, but we're super excited to continue showing spotlights on our academic members and our other institutional organizational members. For those of you who aren't familiar, this is really an effort for us to allow you to showcase who you are, who makes up your institution or your organization, and hopefully get some people interested. So more to come there, and stay tuned. And if you're interested in being involved in one of those spotlights, any member at any level for WFATT can be one of those. So please feel free to reach out to us. And then we'll continue with promoting events that are going to be developed, like I said, from our other committees, including the World Congress and those efforts put forth by the Education Committee. And I think the last slide, Brian, is, yeah, so here's a list of names, everybody who we could think of that contributed in some meaningful way last year and or this year to making International Athletic Training and Therapy Day a success. So we built a lot of new infrastructure last year for ideas and tried to move some of those things forward this year. Still to come, we're hoping to develop in the end of this year and for early next year some awards that our peers can nominate each other for, to show some spotlights on international impact and people who are really driving our field forward at any level. So stay tuned for that. That effort has included a lot of these same people as well. And this is mostly just so you have on record how grateful we are for all these people and the contributions they've made.
Sam, thank you very much. And thank you to your entire committee. You'd had a lot of work on your plate over the last couple months, working on the International Athletic Training and Therapy Day, the logos, that you'll see those coming up in our presentation here in a little bit, and some of the ideas that are out there. They did a lot of work for this, and I really want to thank this entire group for everything that they've done and continue to do for not only the World Federation, but of course for athletic training, athletic therapy, sports rehabilitation, because that's the meaning of this day. The meaning of this day is to get the word out, showcase some of the amazing things that we do, and, advocate, collaborate, and engage with our communities around us. So thank you for everything you're doing. Academic institutions, Matt, can you give us a report from your committee?
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian, and thank you all for the chance to give you a quick update here. If we've not had a chance to meet, I'm the athletic training program director at Messiah University, which is in central Pennsylvania. And I've been the committee chair for, I suppose it's been around a year, although I think I've lost track a little bit. I think that's about right. So you can see the current membership of the committee. We've been excited to add 2 new committee members recently. And we're not necessarily looking to grow the committee so much right now as we kind of get some planning done moving forward, but we are always looking for individuals that are willing to help with projects as they come up. So I've started to add to the email list that Brian's provided, just to make sure we're catching as many faculty members at your institutions as possible. And as messages come out and you see something that you might be interested in helping out with or working with us on, please reach out to me and we'll plug you in any way that we can. So just a little bit of a summary from this current year, earlier the year. We're trying to make an effort to figure out how to get faculty from our academic institutions together, which is a bit tricky when it comes to time zones and geography. We did have a virtual networking event that we ran twice in February this past spring, and we hope to do that again this fall and continue that moving forward. You'll see more about that in just a minute. Like I said, we did have a little bit of turnover on the committee and have added a couple new members. We're trying to make sure that we do have an accurate email list beyond just a single contact at our academic institutions, to make sure that when we do send information out, it lands in as many inboxes as possible so people are aware of what's going on. We were able to connect with the WFATT Marketing Communications Committee, and I appreciate Sam and his committee helping us get connected regarding a podcast episode, which I'll mention more about here in just a minute. And then we were glad to be involved in some of the brainstorming sessions about the IATT D24 day, and I know that was a big success for it. So thank you so much. So moving forward, one of the things we're working on right now is a podcast episode with James Gardner. We're pulling together, we actually now officially have our 3 panelists in place. So I'll be sending information to James next week about contacting the panelists, and then also some guidelines for questions and things like that. But it's around the topic of recruiting internationally and also sending or hosting students to complete clinical experiences outside of their home country. So we're looking forward to a great conversation there, and plan to get that podcast done hopefully in the month of October, as long as we can line up schedules. And then the plan is to follow that with a virtual networking session for our academic institution members, so that we can kind of push the podcast out, give people an opportunity to listen, and then anybody with interest in that topic and some bandwidth to learn a little bit more from individuals that and programs that have experience there. We're going to host a conversation, and hopefully that'll lead to maybe a little bit of an increase in opportunities for your institution, and maybe make some connections between institutions as a result of that call. So we look forward to that conversation. One of our committee members, Rachel Hildebrand, is liaising with the World Congress Planning Committee, as we do hope to see increased content there for educational institutions and students. And I know there's a lot of programs with great interest in bringing students to World Congress, so we look forward to that continued collaboration and what the World Congress Planning Committee is doing there. We will, again, in the spring, try to have another networking session, and right now the brainstorm is to potentially do something around World Congress to kind of build some interest and continue to discuss how students might be able to be involved, and how maybe we can even create some informal spaces while we're there to have program faculty meet, have students meet and interact. Like I said, we were able to in some small way try to help contribute to the overall participation for the International Athletic Training and Therapy Day that just occurred. And we'll always try to be a platform to try to push out new ideas and new communications to our academic institution members. But I will say that I have it on my to-do list, so to speak, to make sure that I'm a little bit more scheduled in my communications, so that we can build a little bit of flow and recurring communication with all of our members.
Matt, thank you very much for that report, and thank you to your committee. I know we have a couple members of your committee on this call today. Thank you for all your work. One thing that I will like to mention, and Matt, you can chime in on this as well. As you said in your report, we love to send as many things as we can to as many faculty members at academic institutions as we can. Our contact list usually only includes the contact for like the program director, let's say. And so we don't have a full list of necessarily all your faculty. If your faculty want to be involved in maybe an email that comes from Matt or the committee, then maybe send me that information and I can forward it on to Matt, and we can put it into an Excel document that we can utilize. Does that sound okay, Matt?
Yeah, it sounds great. We were able to add a little bit from our networking meeting in the spring. And then I do actually I kind of tasked one of my work study students with doing a little bit of sleuthing to see who else we might be able to add. So maybe you and I can compare email lists, and then absolutely, if you have anybody, new faculty, new hires, changes, anybody you think you might want to add to that isn't receiving emails from me, please let us know and we're happy to add them.
Thank you. All right, our International Development Committee. I do not believe Kathy's on, but Glenn is here. Glenn, would you be able to give a little bit of a report from the IDC? Let's see, is Glenn still there?
Sure. The International Development Committee have been meeting. They've met a few times over the last year. You should know that we have really 2 committees. We have an advisory committee, and we have a strategic planning committee. And so one of the advisory committee, we met on 2 occasions. And out of one of the occasions, the most recent meeting that we had, the conversation was quite stimulating, and we opted to just turn this thing into a podcast for World AT Day. So we put together, I scheduled everybody to a Zoom webinar on the morning of ATT Day on the 26th. And we had a webinar, thanks to BASRAT for helping with the logistics of putting the Zoom together, and Oli Coburn for helping us with all the logistics of the day. I thought it was quite successful. We had a good conversation. We got some good feedback from people. we had somewhere around 50 people there, something like that. So it was a pretty good turnout for the fact that we only decided over the course of about 4 days that we wanted to put this thing together. So it actually worked quite well. The initiatives that the International Development Committee are doing, it really is working on developing their strategic plan of how to reach out to two particular groups. One will be emerging professions that happen around the world, emerging athletic therapy associations, and that would be to be able to help them with the logistics of getting their association up and running, and letting them know some of the standards that we would want them to pursue in order to be members of the World Federation. The World Federation has a criteria by which members can actually first join as associate members, and over the course of 5 years, they have to meet all the standards of the World Federation to become voting members. So we have a number of associations we have two actually right now that with Jordan and Israel are associate members, and they're working towards their full membership status. And then we have a number of other organizations that are in the throes of developing their associations. So we're in the background, essentially helping them with anything that they may need. And the other arm of our strategic plan is to start to make ourselves known and make connections with other international organizations. So we have been making some introductions to PASO, which is the Pan Am Sports Organization, for the Pan American, that's North America and South America. And so we've had some meetings with them. We actually have been invited to their conference to send 2 speakers and to have a meeting with their committee. So the whole point there is to try and introduce ourselves to them and see what we can do in terms of collaborative efforts with other international organizations. We are also one of our members, Angel, is going to the next SIMS meetings in the next 2 weeks, and so he will be bringing brochures, our promotional brochures, and meeting with people there and seeing whether or not there's ways of us collaborating and actually getting maybe more of an official status with FIMS. And we also have another one of our members is with the World Tennis Organization, and she is away right now in Saudi Arabia. And so she is bringing the message there just to see what we can do. We've also had communications with Singapore, India, just trying to think of some of the other names, but a number of other countries that we're having discussions with. We've been having some passing back and forth of emails and things with the World Anti-Doping Association. And so we have a meeting that's going to be set up in the next week or two again with Brian and the chair, Kathy Ortega, the chair of our International Development Committee, to look at what we can do, collaborate with the World Anti-Doping Association and see different ideas there. So we have a number of different things that we can do to collaborate to our mutual benefit. So we're looking forward to that opportunity as well. And we would just open up to all of our members that if you see any opportunity for us to introduce ourselves to other international organizations, and or if you know of other organizations that are thinking about getting together and creating an association, feel free to let us know about that. We'd love to introduce the World Federation to all those groups. I think that's about as much as I have off the top of my head.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Glenn. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but thank you to the International Development Committee and our advisory group that is doing some great work trying to get the name out and begin those collaborations. So thank you to them. Our World Congress Committee, Pete.
Yes, thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Pete Dewar. I'm based out of Montreal, Canada, and I am the chair of the World Congress Committee. This will be my 3rd World Congress, and I have Chris Schomer on my committee as well. And then we obviously partner very closely with the local planning committee, which is made up of Lynn, Frank, John, and Sinead, a couple of which are on this call as well. So obviously, this is a big event coming up. This will be held in Maynooth, Ireland, at the Glen Royal Hotel which is just on the outskirts, just on the west side of Dublin. We've moved this to an October meeting this year. Traditionally, we've been in May, but the 2025 meeting will be in October from the 16th to the 18th. And our theme this year is elevating and uniting sports medicine. So over the past year or so, Chris and I took a site visit over to Dublin in May of 2024. Earlier this year, we received funding for that from the basically the Irish Tourism Bureau, I guess you could call it. We were able to see 7 different venues over a 2-day span, review those, and eventually make the decision to set up residence at the Glen Royal. We did start a mailing list for individuals that want to stay up to date with World Congress updates. As Brian alluded to, the larger WFATT mailing list, it goes to a representative of each member. But if there's individuals out there that want to stay up to date on World Congress updates, you can scan that QR code. You can also find that information on our website, and we'll send out updates as things are announced and released. We did release a call for research abstracts in July, and that has a deadline of December 15th. All selected submissions will again be published in the Journal of Athletic Training. So a big thank you to them for their continued collaboration with us on that agreement. And new this year, we've established a couple of research awards, one at the professional level and one at the student level, to basically recognize the top submission at each level. We have, aside from the Glen Royal, we are working with a couple other hotels nearby, so we have various price options as we're conscious of student attendees and various budgets across attendees. So we do have, we are working on some agreements with some hotels aside from just the Glen Royal. And as Matt alluded to, I'm working with Rachel from Matt's committee, and we are planning to develop, some student programming for all of this, some student events, student social events as well as trying to have some more educator-focused sessions. Next slide.
Pete, we just have a question. Looks like Valerie
Oh,
has
yeah.
a question for Pete.
Yeah, I had a question. I don't know if you've reached out, but if someone presents an abstract or a poster both at this conference and at the NATA conference in Orlando, both of which would result in publication in the Journal of Athletic Training, do you know how that will be handled?
So it's up to the author what, if the author wants to go in under the heading of WFATT World Congress or NATA abstracts, right? It's all right to cross that stream, but it's basically up to the author as far as how that's going to be labeled in the issue, right?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So upcoming, obviously, it's a big year now. We're about a year away. We did release a call for speakers yesterday. So you can find that on the website now. If you're on that mailing list, you should have received a message yesterday. Call for speakers was announced, and it will remain open until February 1st of 2025. So take a look there. You'll see on that we are, like I mentioned, accepting applications for speakers and presentations that target both professional, student, and educator categories. So we ask that you somewhat label each of your submissions and your presentation to the appropriate audience, because we'd like to get a variety of different sessions and different talks and workshops. We're working on finalizing our sponsorship and exhibitor packages, which will be distributed this fall as we start to build up exhibitors and vendors and some more sponsors. We also will be releasing housing and registration dates soon, probably within the next month or so. We're conscious that there's a lot of groups planning to come, student groups and whatnot, and so we're conscious of budget and budget planning. So we're going to be able to finalize and release those rates and those registration fee structures probably within the next month or so. So keep an eye on that. We will release the early program early of 25, like we said, with speakers being speaker deadline being February 1st. We'll finalize the program shortly thereafter and be able to release a preliminary program. And then we'll launch registration and housing about 6 months out in advance for bookings and whatnot. Again, if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, scan that QR code to stay in the loop. And as things get released and updates come through, we'll be sending out information both through that mailing list and as well as on our website, in our socials. And Brian will also be distributing that to the member contacts as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Pete. We are all excited, I think, for this World Congress. Not that haven't been excited for other ones, but we are certainly looking forward to this next one. We're excited to work with Artie. And in fact, Sinead and Lynn are on the call, and a little bit later on, we'll give them a few minutes to talk a little bit as well. So again, Pete, thank you very much, and we'll move on. So over the last week, you hopefully have seen maybe this logo or perhaps one of these on our social media platforms, announcing and then encouraging involvement in the International Athletic Training and Therapy Day. Again, this is a huge commitment from our marketing and communications team. Not only did they develop all the logos for this, they also developed a lot of different ways for you to get involved. So this year, we had a lot of great information on our website. And so if you went to our website, and in fact, I think it's still there, you could find out ways in which you could help. And in fact, you could go there, download your logos, you could get different ideas on ways in which you could actually advocate on that day and ways in which you can get involved. So I want to thank again the marketing and communications team for this. I will say this, early indication just for me is that we probably had less engagement this year than we did last year. And so one of my goals, or one of our goals, is going to be how can we increase that? And I really want us to think about this as a group. And the people that are on this call, I know you're engaged. I know you're ready. But how can we reach out to others to help encourage that engagement? And in fact, if you want to at any point, type some ideas in the chat, and I'll keep those and we'll pass that along to the marketing and communications team. But what are some ways in which we can engage our membership? We are an organization of organizations, right? So how can we get our colleagues, our coworkers, our friends more involved to help promote our profession and what we do? And this is just one. This is nothing that World Federation has any benefit necessarily, with the exception of promoting what we do, right? That's the goal. We want to promote everybody that works in our profession, and we want to do that to the best that we can. So if you can think of ways in which we can be more active and ways in which we can promote this more, type some ideas in the chat, and we'll take a look at those after this annual members meeting. So thank you for that. Okay, another activity that we did over this last year, the executive committee actually went back and we've completely reviewed the 2020 World Federation Strategic Plan. And what we tried to do is we actually tried to identify things that we've accomplished and did well with, but then we also wanted to try to identify areas of need. And that's the area that we really concentrated on mostly. Our 2020 strategic plan, I think, was very comprehensive. We had a lot of wonderful ideas, and we actually moved on a lot of those things right away. But we are, like anything else with a strategic plan, there's some things that kind of got left behind in ways in which we can maybe actually increase it. So we identified 3 areas that we considered our top priorities for 24-25. And these were the areas. Number 1 was to provide guidance to potential and current members in the promotion of athletic training and therapy. Ways in which we thought we should be able to do that is, let's get more active with our membership. Let's engage a little bit more. Let's send out a newsletter. And for those of you that there should have been 2 newsletters that have been sent out in the last 3 months. One was specific to International Athletic Training and Therapy Day, and the other one was just the beginning one. And again, if you want to be on that mailing list, send me an email. At the end, you'll have my email there. Send me your information, and I'll make sure you're added to that email list. Again, I have our main contact people, but then I want to add to it more. So please send me that information. We wanted to work on our website, get some more additions there. We actually were part of the international arrangement. There's an education document that's been produced that actually looked at the CATI standards, the standards from Canada, Ireland, and the UK. And members from each one of these organizations got together, and we actually tried to identify commonalities. And so we're able to put that out, and that should be going up on websites fairly soon as well. And then more ways in which we can develop and assist and mentor new and growing programs. That's something that we want to try to be able to do. We're not going to have all the answers, but we want individuals and organizations to know that we're here to help. And please reach out and we'll provide as much help as we possibly can as you try to grow your organization. Second thing is we wanted to facilitate the development of continued professional programs and then promote them globally. So increase our webinars. Like I said at the beginning, we had kind of lost track of our webinars. We're going to get back on that. And we're going to do that. We already had one during International Athletic Training Therapy Day, another one that's coming up next week, and then the podcast that's coming up from our Academic Institutions Committee. Podcast was also there. The last thing on the list is something we're working on. In fact, one of our members is actually working on this right now for me, so thank you. We're going to work on getting our BOC approved status. So our webinars and then the World Congress can also be for Category A BOC credits as well. So we're working on that. And then the last priority was to engage and collaborate more with external organizations. I think we've started that, and I think we've advanced that actually a lot more since this was developed. We finished this review back in March, April, somewhere in there. And since then, we have been able to have some connections out there, as Glenn just mentioned, with the World Anti-Doping Association. We're going to have a meeting with them coming up in the next couple of weeks. Getting invited to present at the Pan Am Medical Games conference, Copenhagen. That's happening actually next October as well, along with our World Congress. It's a couple weeks apart. But getting invited to those types of events to be able to actually do some presentations, I think is really important for us. And the last thing is we are a member of an organization ICC SPE, and Glenn Bergeron is working on getting some more connections with them, along with a couple other one of our members, to make sure we enhance our engagement in organizations like this. So we continue to try to do as much as we can to engage these international organizations, let them know what athletic training, athletic therapy, sports rehabilitation really is, and try to advance our profession at a global scale. So we'll continue to do that. Here's just some screenshots from that newsletter. If you didn't get it and you're on our mailing list normally, you might have to go in and check your junk, unfortunately. And if you did, maybe just approve it so it comes to you without you having to worry about that. But there's just a couple ideas or a couple snips of some of the information that we've tried to put out, again, just to engage our membership a little bit more by what's happening with the World Federation. And then again, here's a couple of the logos of some of those advocacy events or efforts that we've been doing with some other international organizations. So I'm going to stop there for a second. That is a brief report of some of the things that we've been doing as an organization over the last year. Is there any questions that I can answer or one of our committee members can answer? Okay, not hearing anything, you'll have another chance for questions later on. So remember them and we'll ask again. So we're going to go into our new business. Directors will have some votes here that are happening. Here's a financial report. We just received back from our accountant the financial report for 23-24. All of this is in Canadian dollars. And so we had a slight decrease in our income, but we also had a little bit less expense as well. And that's primarily due to in the 22-23 timeframe, we had our World Congress in Israel, and we had a little bit more expenses there that occurred, and we did not have a World Congress this year. So you'll find that when we have our years with the World Congress, we have more expenses that are coming in that are directly associated with that meeting. So you can see what our net assets are, again, in Canadian dollars here. And so what I would like is to get a motion to receive the finalized financial reports. If I could get a motion from one of our directors.
I
I'll
motion.
move it, Brian.
All right, I got Tim. And who is the other?
I'll second Colin.
Colin? All right, thank you. We have a motion in a second. I'm going to start the next poll. Please go ahead and directors again, just the directors, please answer that. All right, all in favor. Thank you very much. The next item on our to-do list is we would like to have a motion to approve that Milgram & Milgram, who has been our accountant for a number of years, continue as that for 24-25. Could I get a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Glenn. I
Seconded.
wasn't Glenn, that was Rick.
Sue, I second.
Sue, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Directors, please go ahead and vote as well. Okay. That was unanimous again as well. Thank you for that. Here are the new directors from our 5 organizations that are rolling off. We have Ellie Daniels, who is going to be the new representative for the Armed Forces Athletic Trainer Society. Colin is going to continue with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. Mirokazu is going to continue with the Japan Sports Organization. Matt is continuing with the National Athletic Trainers Association, and Hengju Li with the Taiwan Athletic Trainer Society. These were all sent to us from those organizations as the representatives. So I would like to have a motion to approve the nominated directors for the World Federation Board for 2024 through 26.
Yeah,
I'll
I
motion.
can.
Sinead, I hear, and
I can second.
Tim, thank you. All right, here is another poll. Okay. One abstention and the rest in favor. Thank you very much. And then we do have election of officers. So this year we had 2 members rolling off, and we had a call for officers from all of our voting member organizations. We received 2 nominations for those 2 positions. So therefore, we have Matthew Coots, who has been nominated by the NATA to continue as a vice president of the World Federation, and Sinead O'Keefe from ARTI has also been nominated from ARTI to continue as an executive member. And so with that, we only have 2 nominations for the 2 positions. So I would like to ask for a motion to approve the 2 individuals, Dr. Coots and Dr. O'Keefe, to continue on as officers in the World Federation Executive Committee for a 2-year term.
So I motion.
Sue, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Rick. And I believe this is our final poll that we have for this evening. Thank you very much. We have a unanimous vote there as well. So thank you for that. All right, for a little bit of a reminder, the president's term is a 4-year term. I finished year 3 now with this annual members meeting. So I have 1 more year as the president for the World Federation. I wanted to make sure I announced that here today, because if you are interested in finding out more about the role of president, go ahead and contact me. You also can contact Glenn Bergeron. Current past board members are encouraged to express interest. It does not have to be a current director who is nominated and can be elected as the World Federation president. So if you have questions about this, I would love to talk to you some more. And I can provide you information about what I've been doing as the president for the last 3 years plus. And then I'm sure Glenn would be willing to do the same thing as well. So that will be coming up next year. So nominations for that will be coming closer to that time. So just a piece of information for you. Okay, I wanted to give Sinead. I'm sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
I need I didn't get the motions for the last motion for election of officers.
Yeah, Sinead and Tim.
Sinead and Tim. Thanks a lot.
Yep. All right. I wanted to give Sinead and Lynn, who I believe are both on, any time that they wanted to talk a little bit about the World Congress coming up in October of next year.
I'll start, so if Lynn can follow up. I think Pete said a lot of what we're planning in terms of, housing and the actual Congress event. There are additional opportunities for, we expect that maybe some groups will be traveling for longer periods of time outside of the actual time of the Congress. So if there is additional things that we can support with in terms of housing outside of that time, you can contact myself or Lynn. to help with that, or if there's any additional planning of events or anything like that that you're interested in. We are hoping that it is going to be very representative of Irish culture, so planning events and different kind of sporting things as well that will fall across that time. So we will keep you updated. We've nothing fully booked or anything yet, or planned in detail, but hopefully we'll have details of that in the soon future. But Lynn, if you have anything else to add.
Hi everyone. I don't think I really have anything more to say, just to say massive thank you to Pete and to the entire team. We're really looking forward to having everyone in Ireland, and yeah, any questions or anything like that, please feel free to email us directly, and we're more than happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. I appreciate it. And I want to have a little bit of a shout out to Artie as a group, as an organization. When we reached out as an option for maybe hosting the World Congress, we know this is a heavy lift. We know this is things that are taking time out of your day. You all have jobs, you all are volunteering for your national organization, and this is something that takes on some more time. And so I really want to thank you for the commitment that you have to this, and know that from the World Federation standpoint, and I believe our partners around the globe, we want this to be an amazing conference. We want this to be something that highlights what you are doing in Ireland, along with what athletic trainers and therapists and sports rehabbers are doing around the globe. So can't be more excited, looking forward to this, and can't wait to see everybody in person next October. So thank you again. Okay, as I mentioned, we are going to try to do more webinars. Here's the next one. So behind the scenes, athletic trainers and therapists at the Olympics, Wednesday, the 9th of October from 8 to 9 p.m. Central Time. That's 2 to 3 p.m. UK time, 10 to 11 p.m. Japanese time. We have two great speakers, and Dr. Jim Mensch, who's on the call, I believe still, is going to be our moderator for that. I'm going to keep this up just for another 30 seconds or so, and I'll try to talk my way through it, but you can see a QR code. If you're interested in this webinar, go ahead and use that QR code. Register for it so you make sure you get the Zoom link. And again, I want to make sure I thank Basrat for all their help. Ali does an amazing job helping us organize these webinars. And so we thank them for that and allow us to be able to use their resource for that webinar. So thank you. And if you haven't hit the QR code yet, go ahead and see it on our social media or take a peek at it on our websites. Okay, here's your last chance. Questions, anything I can answer. Our Irish friends want to go to bed, I think, and our British. Okay, so here's a couple thank yous. Thank you to Mueller. Mueller continues to be our official supplier of the World Federation. Thank you to them for their continuous support for athletic training, athletic therapy around the globe. Can't do this stuff without them. They've been doing amazing work for us. Remember our podcast, there's a QR code that gets you to James Gardner's podcast area. He has not only World Federation items, but he also has things that he's been doing with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. So some great content there. James does an amazing job in podcasting. If you haven't heard some of it, a number of us on this call have been fortunate enough to be interviewed by James in some of these. He is amazing. So we appreciate everything he does for World Federation. And then again, if you're interested in volunteering in any way, if you're interested to get on one of our mailings, if we don't have your information, go ahead and send me an email. If you're interested in a committee, potentially, I do end up needing to get a CV as well, so you can attach that to the email if you're interested in that. But we would certainly love for you to be involved in the World Federation in some way, and we appreciate you being on this call and listening to our annual members meeting as well. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you. I appreciate everything that you all do for the World Federation, for your local organizations, for your academic institutions. But most of all, thank you for what you do for athletic training. You're not on this call because you don't care. You're on this call because you want to be engaged, you want to collaborate, and you want to advocate. So thank you for that. And with that, it is 4:58, under an hour. We're going to let you go. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
Thanks, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey,
Good
thanks,
job.
Brian.
Good one.
Hey, Brian was actually dealing with an international situation when the meeting started.
Oh, were ya?
Yeah, a couple of Nigerians runners here, so it was pretty ironic. Hey, good job. Thank you very much for all you do, and
You bet.
I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Yeah, AJ, we should connect sometime soon if we can.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Brian.
Okay.
Take care, AJ. Nice to see you. Take care,
Good
everybody.
seeing you. Hi, Sue. Hey, I can't wait to see you in
Hi.
March, Sue.
I'll shoot you the email.
Okay.
Hello, Sue.
Hi, Rick. Good to see you.
Talk to
Good
you
to see
soon.
everybody.
Steven, you go to bed and get that body healed up.
I think he's
Brian,
already gone.
Brian, if you want to hang on. Brian,
Yeah,
if you want to
I'll hang on.
for just a minute.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Rick. Bye, Sue.
Bye, Glenn. Bye, Brian. Thank you.
Bye-bye.